king without a throne, expelled from his own kingdom. Michael remained, but the light in his face now carried a shadow, because even the victorious bleed inside. And it is at this point that many people are mistaken, believing that the war ended with the fall. But what if it only began at that moment? Because the sky, although clean, was never the same again, and neither was Michael, nor were we. The war was over. At least that was what the heavens wanted to believe. The enemy had been cast into the abyss, and the echoes of the rebellion silenced by divine orders. But Michael, standing over the ruins of the conflict, did not smile. He did not celebrate, because defeating Lucifer was not something to be celebrated. It was an open wound that bleeds to this day. Michael was the symbol of victory, yes. But no one asked what he lost. He lost his brother of counsel. He lost the communion that preceded the heavenly songs. He lost the innocence of believing that heaven was immune to error. Now he carried more than a flaming sword. He carried memories, and in them the face of the fallen was still alive. The silence that came after the fall was more deafening than the sound of battle. The remaining angels did not know whether to applaud or mourn. Michael walked among them, though on another frequency. His steps were firm, but his eyes carried an ancient weight. The sky was purified, but the archangel's heart was contaminated by memory. And what about Lucifer? He was cast, yes, but was he forgotten? Because while the abyss imprisoned him, his echoes reverberated throughout creation. Michael knew this. He knew that the conflict was not just physical, it was eternal. It was internal, it was spiritual. The true battlefield was only beginning within created beings. And even among men, Michael carries this mission. He appears as a protector, as a defender of justice, as a guardian of the gates of heaven. But behind every divine intervention, there is a silent voice that he tries to silence, the voice of loss. Because he won, but he lost a brother and perhaps part of himself. That is why, even as a symbol of light, Michael does not shine with vanity. He shines with purpose. His sword does not shine to wound, but to protect from the error that he saw happening. Because he knows how quickly the sky can fall, and how many, even with wings, can still fall. And now the question that no one wants to ask begins to form. If Michael, the just, the faithful, the loyal, fought against his own brother, then what would you be capable of doing for us, and what would we be capable of doing if we were in the same position? If even Michael had to take sides, what about us? If even the angels were tested and failed or were forgotten, where do we fit into this story? It is easy to point the finger at Lucifer, paint Michael as a hero, and call it a day. But what if heaven is more similar to earth than we imagine? What if the wars up there were just a rehearsal for the conflicts down here? Have you ever stopped to think why this story barely appears in sermons? Why have so many parts been erased, silenced, or labeled apocryphal? Perhaps because they reveal more than they should. They reveal that free will is not a gift exclusive to humans, and that even bearers of light can stumble over their own shadow. Michael faced Lucifer, but not because he wanted to, but because he had to. This changes everything. It breaks the narrative of the relentless warrior angel and transforms him into someone who chose pain, sacrifice, and loss over fidelity. Now imagine if you were in a battle like that. Would you have the courage to fight against someone you love, to take a stand, even if it tears you in two? This is where the story stops being mythological and becomes personal. Because the battle in the heavens did not end in the abyss. It continues in every choice you make, in every renunciation, in every time you decide between pride and humility, between justice and convenience. Hey, Michael may have won, but the question remains. Will you keep quiet or stand up? Maybe, just maybe. What happened in the heavens was not just ancient history. It was a warning, a mirror, a summons.